As part of our Patreon perks, every month, Vanessa and I get together and have a little episode called Real Talk, where either I ask her a question or she asks me a question, and we dive into what is going on in our lives. This month, while we were preparing our Real Talk, the question proved to be bigger and more important, and it seemed like it deserved a full episode. This is, again, a question about grief. It is a question about goodbyes and about endings, and it seemed like an important question to bring out here for all of you to hear. I'm very excited to have Vanessa on the show again, and I'm very excited to explore endings with her. I'm Mauricio Bruce, and this is The Real Question. Hi, Vanessa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mauricio. I love what you've done with the place.
Thank you very much. I didn't expect to see you here. This is a good surprise.
Oh, thank you. I still have the key, and I just let myself in sometimes.
Okay. You brought a question. I know this, but
Yes.
if you've heard the show over the last year, you know that before we get to hear your question,
Yes.
I get to ask you if there's anything you want to share about yourself. What would you share?
Something I want everyone to know about me is that I spill a lot on myself, and I have spilled on myself today, but the way Zoom cuts me, you wouldn't know. So I didn't change my shirt.
What do you spill?
Everything.
Does it annoy you?
Yes. Brings me great shame. I spill, I trip, I knock things over, I drop things. I'm clumsy. And it's just like not as cute as it looks in rom-coms.
Ah, okay. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
And now I know you've brought a question. So what's your question?
Okay, I have context for my question.
Okay, go ahead.
I've been thinking a lot about goodbyes lately. I'm in the middle of doing something really special. Harry Potter and the Sacred Text, another podcast that Not Sorry does, is ending. And we have been working on it for 10 years. Wow. And I know. And it changed my life, right? This has been a huge thing. And Casper and Ariana, who co-founded it with me, have become two of my best friends. And we now own a company. And I've met hundreds and hundreds of people through this and traveled all over the world with it. And it's ending. And I have brought a lot of intention to that because it feels really special to know that something is ending and to have enough time to plan for it in a way that feels authentic. And I've had these great partners. Everyone has been amazing at Not Sorry helping us plan this. There are a lot of people planning the ending. But Casper in particular, is a ritual designer. This is what he does as part of his job. He's written a book on ritual. And so really thinking about what this is sort of philosophically with him has been really, really fun. And it's been hard because I personally hate goodbyes. I have always thought of goodbyes as prolonging something that is over. So like in Judaism, you're supposed to try to prolong life, but not to prolong death. And my experience of goodbyes in the past has always been like, we are prolonging the death, cut and run. But planning this event, we're doing something called Sacred Practice Saturday, where we're like gathering as many people as we can to do like a full day of singing and celebrating and sacred reading practices and a sacred dinner. And like, just it's going to be this really beautiful day. And in talking to Casper about it, he was like, well, it's not prolonging the death and it's not prolonging the life. It's actually starting something new. You're starting a new relationship with the audience. You're starting the new phase of your life without Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. We are celebrating this next phase. And I know that in every graduation speech, everyone is like, endings are beginnings. And this is like a cliche. And for whatever reason, it just hit me. I was like, oh, endings are actually beginnings. And it's like blown my mind. Okay, so that's all the context. And here's now my question. I'm in the middle of ending a friendship. And I am tempted to take this new learning that I have that like endings are beautiful and like I should bring a ton of like intention into this with my old instinct, which is like clarity is kindness and boundaries are firm. And I just kind of want to be like, dude, we're done. Bye. You know, when you like learn something new and you're like, should this apply to everything in my life now? And I don't know. I really just want to send kind of a rude email to this man and be like, bye-bye.
And your question then is, should
I see the ending of this friendship as the beginning of something new and like write to him in this way that's like, we're not going to be in each other's lives anymore, but I hope that we can, I don't know. I don't even know how to be nice about this because I'm mad. But like, should I try to be nice and menschy about this thing? Because I've learned this new thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I have new wisdom. Do I have to apply it even when I don't want to?
So I'm just going to be a stickler and like try to figure out what the question is.
Yeah. Do it.
I get what you're asking, but we need to put it in that should I format.
Should I be nice to this man who I don't like anymore? Right now, the ball's in my court in terms of he and we were trying to negotiate a peace talk. And the terms he gave me for the peace talk were untenable to me. And so we will not be having this peace talk. And I have to tell him that we will not be having this peace talk.
Okay.
Do I sit with this and be like, okay, it's a new beginning of my life without Earl? I like, what is that? What does that mean I should do?
So the question is, let me phrase it like this, and you tell me if this fits. But even though I figured out, thanks to Harry Potter and the Sacred Text, that endings can be beautiful, should I do this ending nastily or not in a beautiful way or in a more...
Yeah.
What I'm also hearing is I don't want this ending to be a new beginning. Like, with
I want it to be a new beginning for my life without this man.
Right. So it's like, even though I've learned in Harry Potter and the Sacred Text that endings can be rituals and can be ways to start new things in my life, and I'm not feeling that generous towards Earl, and can endings still be, or should endings still be bad in a way?
Yeah, I truly believe that clarity is kindness and that the way to handle rupture is through rigorously trying to be as kind as possible in how you are clear.
Yeah, I like that.
And clarity, if I'm ending this, almost feels mean to me because I'm like, what's the point of scolding him? Like, can I get a little into the specifics of this email exchange?
I was going to ask even a little bit of the specifics or of the context of this relationship in general before we get to the end. Yeah. What has this been and how's it gotten to this point?
Yeah. So my friend Earl, we are college friends. That's not his real name, everyone. And he and I were like super close in our 20s. We lived in New York together. We were broke together. We had so much fun together in our 20s. In our 30s, I would say we moved apart and he really wanted to stay as close. And it became clear to me that when he wasn't a part of the daily fun of my life, he wasn't as good of a friend. But, you know, that was fine. I still loved him a lot. We still had all these great memories, etc. I was going through a really hard time 3 years ago. My dad was having horrible health stuff. Finances were really bad. One of my kids was dealing with severe health stuff. I was just like at capacity. And Earl was asking a lot from me. And I felt like I had sort of kindly been like, I need some space. I can't really talk right now. I'm drowning right now. My dad keeps falling and I'm in hell. And he kept asking a lot from me. And so at one point I was like, I need a break from you. I need a couple of months of space from you. My dad is going to be in rehab for the next 3 to 4 months. And like, that's my life right now. Please leave me alone until then. And he didn't leave me alone. And I felt very disrespected and felt like there was a lot of pressure. And so I just ended the friendship. I was like, I don't want to talk about it. You're not respecting my boundaries. I'm done with this. So that was over 3 years ago. And then my life didn't actually get easier in 3 to 4 months. I found out my husband was cheating on me. I was dealing with that. I needed 2 surgeries. I was going through a divorce. I was moving. And about 6 months ago, I feel like I've like caught my breath. I, left my ex-husband a year before, and my parents are stable. And as soon as I had some space, Earl started haunting my dreams. Literally, I started having dreams about him where I was just like hugging him and like, sorry. And so I was thinking about it for months and months and months. And I was like, okay, I'm going to send an email saying, I'm so sorry for the way that I ended our friendship. Do you want to talk about it now? But I'm really sorry about how. And I said, it was the best that I could do at the time. And I'm still sorry. That must have sucked. He wrote back saying that he misses me and loves me and that his life is better with me in it. And so he would like to think about us being friends again. But his terms were, you have to earn back my trust before I can hear what you think went wrong in our friendship.
And did he specify how you would earn back his trust?
No.
Okay.
The other thing he said, and I know that this just triggers something in me that's not his fault. It might be a really fair thing that he said, but he was like, and you have to promise to not cut and run when things get tough. Like you have to promise that you'll stick things out. And as someone who just cut and run from a bad man, I'm like, that's not something I can agree to. Sorry. So like, I understand what he's saying, right? Like you can't do this to me again. But also I was like, that is a fake promise. That's stupid. So the 2 things he said that I was like, I can't do this are you can't cut and run. You have to stay and talk. And you have to earn back my trust before I am open to the possibility of listening to you. And that's a big no for me.
Okay. And we'll talk about why in a minute.
Yeah.
So I have some context questions to try and understand what's going on. And then I have some questions about this email. But from what I heard, in your 20s, it was fun. In your 30s, you guys were not as close, but you were moving apart, but you stayed friends. It just felt like Earl was not as good a friend as he was when you guys were having fun in your 20s, but you still stayed in touch.
Yeah.
And then in your 40s, or more in the present, you said he was asking, he was needy. But what was the relationship like then? What kind of relationship were you guys having? Like, was it that still sort of distant friendship? Was it more casual? Was it like, what was the flavor of the relationship then when it all ended?
So he saw me as his best friend, right? It was like, he would literally call me and be like, I can't talk to my mom or my wife about this. So can I talk to you? So he would call and just talk about himself. Really, like, he wanted to talk twice a week.
And so I'm just going to ask, did it feel like a friendship that he was always just talking about himself, or did it feel more like therapy?
Yeah, it didn't. I started to feel exploited. The rhythm was he would call me while driving to work, which even that, I was like, you have to stop doing that. That worked while I was in grad school because I didn't start class until 10, but he lives in a different time zone. And so he would call me and I was like, I'm at work. I can't talk. And so I stopped answering. But for a while it was, he would call me on his way into work. He would talk about himself. And then as he pulled into the parking lot, he'd be like, and how are you? I gotta go. And I pointed this out to him. And then I was like, I can't talk in the mornings as you drive to work anymore. I'm in a different phase of my life. And he was like, well, then when can we talk? And I was like, no, dude, I just might not have time to talk to you for 2 hours a week anymore. It felt like he was not respecting that I was partnered and had kids. And like, he still wanted me to be.
Same old, same old. Yeah.
Yes. He wanted me to be the same as I had been in our 20s.
Right. Okay. You set a boundary, which for good or worse was respected, right? You guys stopped talking.
Yes.
And then something about setting that boundary came up in dreams. And I'm curious about that. Like, what was the haunting? You said you were hugging him in dreams. You said you were saying sorry. Like,
yeah.
What do you think, like, if we're seeing those dreams as sort of your unconscious saying, hey, this is still unresolved, like, what was unresolved for you?
I tried to be kind, and say, like, I need some space. And even though I felt like I was warning him a lot, I know for him it came totally out of left field. And I felt really bad about that. I like genuinely did. And the thing that sort of haunted me was he sent me an email 3 years ago being like, I want to respect your boundary and I would really like to talk. This is like really weighing on me.
Yeah.
And my dad was in the ICU that day. I was like, and I just deleted the email. I was like, nope. And so the dreams in particular where I would run into him at reunions and be like, oh, should I just avoid him? Like I'd have some like shame around running into him. And then I would run up to him and hug him. And it just like felt so good to not, I think it mostly felt good to not have to avoid him, to like not feel bad.
Okay. I'm wondering what you were missing that was showing up on the dream. Is it just not avoiding him, or was that hug something you missed, that kind of friendship with him? Like,
we actually didn't hug in our friendship. Like we would go a year without seeing each other and then we would high five, hello, and goodbye. So no,
No, I'm not saying you missed the hug, but you missed that closeness, like the fun that you were having in your 20s, like this person who was constantly in your life in a different way in which the relationship had evolved, but it had turned, you moved apart.
I don't think so. I really do think the thing that was about him is this anxiety of, he's definitely told his group of friends that I'm just like psycho and flipped on him, that like I'm embarrassed that there's this story that I just went nuts and it ended the friendship. I don't think it's about missing him.
Okay. And so you wrote and he wrote back and said, you have to earn back my trust and don't cut and run. And your response is just immediately, no, absolutely not. Don't cut and run triggers me. And the earn back my trust, what happens with that when you think about it?
That he is acting like I've committed a crime and it is my job to heal, right? Like this is like a truth and reconciliation committee meeting and you have oppressed me and therefore it is your job to earn back my trust because you messed up.
So two things. If we listen to that as, I was hurt last time.
Yeah.
I don't want to expose myself again. I don't want to get hurt again. And here's the way I can maneuver that or like propose that. Yeah. Does that change the email at all?
No, because that is not what relationships are. Like it still needs to be mutuality, right? Like I can read you the email. There is like no interest in my feelings or experience.
And you've already acknowledged to us that part of the anxiety of the dream and part of what was coming up was your lack of kindness in the last goodbye.
Right.
And so you can probably also acknowledge that you understand why he was hurt.
Totally. That's why I feel bad. Can I just say, I've reread some of what I wrote to him back then. And like, what wasn't kind was that he asked for a conversation and I just didn't respond. He asked for a conversation several times and I said, no, I love you. I wish you well. I can't. Like, I wasn't endlessly kind. Eventually, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. But I did try to be kind.
Yeah, I'm not trying to fault you here or anything. I'm trying to just sort of explore the situation.
I know. No, I just want the listeners who are like, I thought Vanessa was a nice person, to know, like, I wasn't like, and I'm done with you and you're trash.
And then there was an email that came in and you just delete it.
Yes.
And so in his experience, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes to try and understand where this email is coming from.
Yeah.
And the email is saying, I miss you. My life is better when you're in it. And last time, this relationship led to me feeling hurt. And I don't trust you right now.
Yeah.
Right? He adds a lot of conditions and these are the rules of engagement. And we can talk about that. But basically, he's saying, I miss you. My life is better with you. And I'm hurt. I'm scared.
And I don't care about your feelings.
Tell me where you read that.
I can only feel safe and ready for that conversation if we've first reestablished enough trust and care between us to hold it. So he can only hear my side of things if he's decided that we've established enough trust. Like, my feelings being shared are conditional on his comfort level. That's not what a relationship is.
No, I agree with you. But I don't hear anything there that says, I don't care about your feelings. He's just saying, I'm hurt, I'm scared, and I'm putting up all my defenses. I'm not arguing that you should continue with this friendship. I'm just trying to see what's there.
Yeah. I guess I think that, I mean, part of it is like, this was one of the problems in our friendship, is that it was like, focus on me and I don't care about your feelings. And so I'm like, this is exactly what broke us up, dude. You're just acting the same.
Yeah, part of the problem with this relationship is that it was a little bit one-sided. You were his counselor, his therapy friend, his listen to my problems and give me directions, right?
Yeah.
As you re-engage with him, and this is the email that you receive from him, it's almost like he wants to reconnect to the old relationship.
Yes.
And so my question for you is, when you sent this email to him, what were you hoping for? What was your desire when you wrote the email in the first place?
My desire was for him to know that I know that hurt him, that I never responded to his last email, and that I care that he is hurt.
Okay. So you've sent that email.
Yeah.
And so he responds. And you get really upset and you're here wondering, should I just end this relationship with like a gavel, right? Like,
yes. What my current instinct is like, thank you so much for taking the time to reflect and get clear on what would make reunification possible. I cannot agree to the terms of the process that you have suggested. It's actually would be reifying everything that was wrong in our friendship the first place. And so I'm really sorry for how I behaved 3 years ago, but I don't think that it was the wrong decision. I'm sorry for how I did it, but not what I did. But bye. Wish you well. Peace and love.
So what's the purpose of this new email for you? Like, with all those things that you're saying?
To never hear from him again.
So can we just say, right now, I'm not interested in continuing our friendship. Thank you so much. Instead of saying all those other things.
Isn't that meaner to not explain? I could also just not respond.
No. I mean, if your complaint from last time was I wasn't kind, and then not being kind this time is just going to have a dream in like 6 years, and then
totally.
This will start again.
I think your answer is less kind.
I just think engaging and criticizing what he's offering is going to make him more defensive and more hurt and sort of keep the cycle going.
I mean, what I could do is just be like, I'm really grateful that you're so clear on these terms. They aren't terms that work for me. Like, no judgment. They just won't work for me.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it that they don't work for you, or were you never interested in a relationship to begin with? All you wanted was to apologize for what happened and then keep going.
I was open to starting to talk once a year again.
Okay.
You and I have another shared friend who I will call Saul. Saul and I talk once a year. And we talk for an hour and it's so fun. And whenever we hang up, I'm like sad that we don't have time for twice a year, but not sad enough to talk to him more than once a year. Yeah. And I wish him well. I care about him and I want to know how he's doing. And like, if his mom dies, I want to know.
Yeah.
And that's how I would like to interact with Earl.
Yeah. Earl isn't ready for that. Earl is yearning for the old relationship you guys had. He makes that clear in his email. Yeah. Right? Like, my life is better when I call you and we talk 2 hours in the morning as I'm driving to work. Like, I really enjoyed that and I missed that.
Yeah.
Which is not something that you're willing to do anymore. You don't have time for that, nor do you have the energy, nor do you have the desire.
No.
But so we come to the part of the conversation where we can talk about endings.
Yeah.
Because I think as a society, culturally, we're so afraid of endings.
Yes.
I'm gonna say this, and it's a little bit like cheeky, but like, we're so afraid of endings that we start talking and telling ourselves they're not endings, they're new beginnings, and new things are gonna like.
Shh. Hey, it's very wise.
Like, an ending is
a death.
It's a death.
Yeah,
and we will stretch it out as long as we can so that we don't have to face death, and we'll stay there in agony. Right? Like, a friend will call and be like, hey, you want to hang out this week? And I'll be like, I'm so busy this week. Let's talk again next week. Just so I don't have to end that friendship.
Right.
And I think sometimes we need to be able to come somewhere and say, I just needed to say this so that we could be done. We just need to let that die. And I understand that there was still a piece of it, and you were dreaming about it, right? It wasn't dead.
Yeah.
There was still that seed in there that said, wait, like, this is still here. We haven't finished this. So if you had to let this relationship die.
Yes.
What would that email look like?
The one that I had said to you.
Without opening or starting new things for him or just debating.
I'm not trying to start new things for him. I'm trying to be like, this is the point of difference. Because if I were to say, I'm trying to do it really generously, thank you so much for this email, I think we should just stop being friends. I think that that's not kind. Where he's like, then why the fuck did you start this all up again? But if I'm like, do you know what? I really want to honor that, like, your feelings on this process are fine. They won't work for me. And therefore, no outward judgment. I am super judgy of the terms that he has set. I think that they are so self-absorbed and show like a deep lack of curiosity about me and like, all of that.
But is that email just going to prompt him to go, okay, I'll change the terms?
If so, and I think I want to say that in my email, be like, I don't want to renegotiate the terms. I just think that we are still very different. And I am still sorry about how I did this. But I do think it's important. I think that the kindest thing to do is to give a clear reason, because his complaint last time was he had no idea what happened.
Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you where I'm stuck.
Yeah.
You've wanted to end this. You ended it years ago. There was still a little seed there that you needed to also put to rest. And now he wakes up again and says, hey, listen, I want this, and here's my terms. Yeah. And if we then start a conversation about terms, even if you're saying, I don't want to renegotiate, et cetera, knowing that he doesn't want this to end, I just feel like if the ending isn't clear, he's going to keep coming and saying, okay, what about this way? What about if we do this? What about, just like it was last time, until you go, I'm just not going to answer anymore, or stop, or, right? I just think if this is really about endings, then we need to end it.
And you really think that the way to end this well is to be like,
our relationship in our 20s was beautiful. I love you so much, and I will always remember it. I wanted to make sure that you knew I was sorry for what had happened, and I'd rather we just leave it here for now.
I think he's going to respond being like, then why did you reach out? I don't think that will stop it either. So, yeah. So it's about what will feel good to me, and to me, what would feel good. I think I'm hearing from him again almost no matter what. And so then what will feel good for me is like real, like, we have to agree to disagree. Like, you and I have different understandings of what relationships are. And so I can have something to point to of like, look, I told him. I agree with you that he's responding to that and negotiating. I just think he's responding and negotiating to anything I say. And so what I have to say is something I'm proud of. And I wasn't proud of just not responding, right?
Right. So knowing, Vanessa, that what you weren't proud of before was your lack of kindness, I think that what you want to make sure that your new email does is end kindly.
Right.
But I think you have to mark a definite ending in a way that you craft the email to say, I know this is confusing. I'm sorry I confused you. I wanted to email to apologize for the way things had gone before, but I'm really ready to end this relationship, and I'm not interested in terms or in, right? Like I'm sorry if I, like some way that it makes it clear, right? This is not a period, end of paragraph. This is a period, end of story.
Yeah.
And crafting something that allows that in the email and also in your conscience, and to do it kindly, I think is important in this case.
And my new beginning is not feeling guilty.
I'm not talking about new beginnings.
Let me have this. I'm wiser now.
I want this to be an ending, and I
do
need
too.
us to feel the ending rather than think about, because when we think about the new beginning, we sort of glaze over the ending. Like endings bring grief. Even if they're quote unquote good endings, we need to sit with the grief and not just immediately start thinking about the new thing that's starting.
Agreed.
And I think being able to sit with the grief and go, okay, this was a relationship that I've had since college and it's done. And that's sad. Even if it was a bad relationship, even if it was something that cost me dream time.
Yeah.
It's sad and it's good.
Yeah. No, I can't wait for this to be over.
But talking about endings, I know that the Harry Potter and the sacred text ending it's a sad thing, but it's a great accomplishment. And I think there's quite a bit to be proud of as Harry Potter and the sacred text comes to an end. Tell me about that ceremony, ritual day.
Here's the way that I want it to be a beginning. We've always measured the success of Harry Potter and the sacred text in terms of the relationships that people made. And I like that it's like one last chance for people to gather over this sacred thing that we've had a relationship with, a complex relationship with over the last 10 years. And like, I think potentially new friendships could even come out of that. And that to me is like the goodbye. It's like, we've had this technology of gathering people for the last 10 years that is ending. We're not going to be gathering people around this text anymore. And so I want to do it one more time and like hope that more beautiful connection comes out of it. So it's on November 8th in Cambridge. People can learn about it at notsorryworks.com. And I really hope a lot of people come.
And it's open. Are there tickets that they have to buy?
There are
Is
tickets.
It just open
you have
to everybody?
to buy a ticket. You have to buy a ticket.
So it's limited amount of seats.
Yes. I think it's 80 people can come.
Okay. It's quite small. It's quite exclusive.
Yes. VIPs only.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for bringing... I think this question will help a lot of people who are listening. I think it is an important and a real question. How do we end things in our life? How do we sit with the grief of letting things go? Because it is hard. It is one of the hardest things that we do. Yeah. Which is also why it's one of the things we're most afraid of.
Yeah. Thank you. You're very good at your job, and I'll let you change the locks.
The guy's coming tomorrow. This has been The Real Question. Our show is funded through our Patreon at patreon.com/realquestionpod. And another way you can support this show is by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. I love reading your reviews, and I love seeing that you've heard the show. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Real Question Pod. And of course, we are always looking for more guests. So go to our website, realquestionpod.com, and submit your question. We love to shout out our BFF tier patrons, Renee Underhill, Christina Igu Brandon, and Jackson Paul Keeley. Thank you guys. We are a Not Sorry production. Our co-executive producers are Vanessa Zoltan and Ariana Nettleman. We are edited and produced by Ariana Nettleman. Music is by Nick Bowl. And we are distributed by Acast. Support for this show comes from the Fetzer Institute. Thank you, Vanessa, for joining us today. Thank you for letting me take our real talk and turning it into a real episode. I do want to say congratulations. I've heard you've sent your email and that you've put an end to this relationship. And thanks as always to our wonderful team, Julia Argy, Nikki Zoltan, AJ Yaramas, Anissa Ahmed, Danny Langley, Courtney Brown, Casper Turkile, and Stephanie Paulsell.